This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com in review. When I learned, thanks to Storm Shadow, that there was going to be a reboot of Dracula on Netflix, I didn't think too much about it, frankly. Mainly because Dracula has been done to death. Anyway, there are only so many ways you can approach the character that make it seem new and interesting. Most recently, I'd have to say, was Bram Stoker's Dracula, directed by Francis Ford Coppola in 1982, as a very interesting and somewhat differentiated take on the character. Though, I didn't expect much from Netflix. And having seen it, boy, was I wrong. This is probably among one of the best portrayals of Dracula I have seen. It is great. I think that it works because beyond the actor they chose to play Dracula, who is excellent, by the way, it's the fact that this is so damn clever. The writing is just so jaunty, for lack of a better word, and things just flow. It's just fascinatingly written. As a great example of this, I go back to episode 2 where they're on a Demeter, the ship where Dracula is using to go to the, well, at least he thinks, that will take him to the New World. There's a scene where they're in the dining room and they're talking about the murders that are going on the ship. And Dracula numerous times confesses to doing the very crimes everyone is afraid of. And the thing is, and this goes to the cleverness of the show, he doesn't exactly say he did it, but he just comes out and says things that, if you take them at a certain glance, he's admitting to it. And he does it a lot. And I mean, that's a fascinating thing to me. He's this terrible creature of the night, and he's murderous, but he has a moral center. He's not a liar. In fact, I don't recall Dracula lying once in this entire first series. He will tell you the truth. He doesn't quite phrase it as clearly as perhaps you would want him to. He won't say, I'm the murderer to something, but he will say he is the murderer, just in a mildly oblique fashion. It's fascinating to watch, and it's hilarious. There were times that I was thinking that this show would get way too clever for its own good, and there are a few instances of that. Groaningly so, in fact. But those are relatively rare. It's just so well written, and it goes in directions that I certainly didn't expect. It has great characters, and I know there are going to be some people on the take one. And I know there are going to be people on the take two. And I know there are going to be people on YouTube who are going to lose their shit over the fact that this is a pretty diverse cast. And it's diversity with logic. It works. Women take a central role, embodied by Saint Agatha. Take one. Women take a central role, and I would say take two. Women take a central role in a narrative, and Sister Agatha being one of the most dominant. And her secret I saw, take one. And her secret, by the way, I saw literally from the beginning of the episode. It doesn't make it any less welcome, but it's not a mystery. If you, take one. If you follow vampire lore at all, you know who Sister Agatha is. But it's very well done. It goes to places that you don't expect it to. And I guess that's what's most fascinating to me. It takes so many chances. It does, take one. And I guess that's what's most fascinating to me about Dracula. It takes so many chances. It twists the lore, but doesn't abandon the central core of who Dracula is. This is something filmmakers like, I don't know, Zack Snyder, like J.J. Abrams should be forced, I should say, should be honored to watch. Because it's, take one. Because it shows you how to take established characters, established continuity, to make it new, yet at the same time, have it remain as it was. It's oddly paradoxical, but it works. this is just great television. And did I mention there are only 3 episodes in this first season? I don't know how the heck there's going to be a second season, by the way, if you've seen this season. But in any case, there are only 3 episodes. Now, mind you, each episode's about an hour and a half long. But there are only 3, and the thing is, take one. There's only 3, and the thing is, there's so much world building and detail in them. You don't need more. I literally tried to, take one. I originally said to myself, I'm going to watch just an episode. Since there are only 3, I'll watch an episode or 2 a day. The thing is, though, once I started, I could not stop. I started with the first, almost immediately went to the second, and this is probably around 12-ish or 1 in the morning, and I just sat through the next one because it's so strong and so well written and so well told a story that it just draws you in. And the gore is, there's not a lot of it, frankly, but then again, there are only 3 episodes, as I said. But it tends to be innovative, reminiscent of things you've seen in other movies, but in this context, it almost appears novel. For instance, his transformation from wolf to vampire is done in a fashion that is reminiscent, actually, of folklore, literal werewolf folklore. I think also it was done in such a way as in like A Company of Wolves and in other movies. And it's just interesting. It's funny. It's dramatic. It's also not terribly scary. I don't think I've seen a vampire film that scared me in quite a while. But that's okay, because it's such a well-told, strong story. And truth be told, I've never found Dracula particularly scary anyway. So it actually is in line with more traditional portrayals. But Netflix's Dracula is engaging, it's fascinating to watch, it's beautiful, and it also doesn't overstay its welcome, which is always a plus. If you haven't seen Netflix's Dracula, check it out. Oh, with the BBC, by the way. And I want to mention something, since I brought up the BBC. Namely, this is so well acted. That's part of its strength, is that it's so well acted. And if it weren't, it would come off almost as campy. But the fact that the actors take it seriously, the director takes it seriously, the writers take it seriously, everything just works. This is Brian with ScreenFiles.com in review with Netflix's Dracula, a must-see. Peace.